We're ready when you are, Ange.
You're live.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
We're good to go.
you got it.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 6:02, up close enough.
Yes.
We acknowledge that the town of Winnipeg Beach is located on First Nations Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory and ancestral lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people in the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties made of these territories. We dedicate ourselves to move forward with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to make Manitoba an inclusive and accessible place for everyone to live. Remind the gallery to try to refrain from discussion and welcome, by the way. Agenda item 4, approval of agenda. Mover? Nope. Seconder? Dean? Discussion? Oh, I missed it, sorry. Oh, be resolved that the agenda for April 23rd, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented.
That's pretty
Plus the following, as per the following deletions, or additions, sorry. 12.2 Recreation Report, March 2025. 10.8 Public Works Report on Lagoon Operations. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 5.1, recess regular meeting of council to hold a public hearing. Be it hereby resolved that the regular meeting of council, April 23rd, 2025, be recessed at 6:04 for the purpose of holding a public hearing as required on the following matters. Conditional use application TWB-25-04C. Mover? Dean? Seconder? Doug? Any discussion?
No, there is no, the meeting's not showing.
Oh.
But no, sorry.
She said the meeting wasn't showing.
I have it up in the office. Okay, now, okay, sorry, that was from a second ago. Just double check, sorry. Sorry, Stan, go ahead.
Oh, that's all
I
right.
shouldn't have said that then.
I'm glad you did if it didn't work. We'll get a vote on this.
Nothing.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 5.2, open public hearing for conditional use TWB/25/04C. Application for conditional use TWB/25-04C at 15 Center Avenue, legally described as Lot 21, Block B, Plan 725, roll number 6110. Mover, please. Seconder? All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Sorry. We'll just leave. Carried. Purpose of this public hearing is to receive representations from the applicant and any persons wishing to make their concerning conditional use TWB/25/04C at 15 Center Avenue, legally described as Lot 21, Block B, Plan 725, Roll 6110. We will hear first from the applicant, then from those present who wish to make presentations. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond. If in response the applicant supplies new information or raises new issues, then the others will be given an opportunity to speak again. At the end of each presentation, the members of council may ask for clarification from the speaker or any fact or issue, but will not enter into debate. Persons speaking must address the chair if they have questions that they think applicants should answer. They should raise them in their presentation to the chair. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to questions when the other presentations are finished. This is also not the time to question the members of council under the Planning Act. The purpose of public hearing is for council to receive representations, and a discussion of argument involving members of council is inappropriate. There will be no interruptions while a person is making a presentation. Order must be maintained. Minutes will be kept and the proceedings will be recorded. Written submissions and report may be presented, but copies must be made available to all those present who want them. When all presentations have been completed, the public hearing will close. If the hearing is not completed today, either because we run out of time or further information is to be provided, then we will adjourn the hearing. If we adjourn, we will tell you at this hearing the date for the continued public hearing. There will be no other notice given of the date. When council makes its decision on the application, it is final. There is no appeal to the municipal board or the planning district board. If anyone has a preliminary point or procedural objection to raise, please may we hear from you now. If not, we'll begin. We're good?
Okay, hearing none. Applicant, would you like to speak now on this matter?
Sure. Can I speak from here?
Sure.
My name is Rosie McDevitt, or Rosalie McDevitt. I live at 15 Center here in Winnipeg Beach. Today, for the sake of everybody here, I'm going to read my letter of proposal. I would like to apply for conditional use to have my guest house and main house used for seasonal Airbnb. The guest house is situated behind the main house. It was built by Ron Suzuki here, Sensible Homes in 2016. It's located at 15 Center Avenue, Winnipeg Beach. The construction of the guest house is of high quality and built to code with its own heating, cooling system, and wired fire alarm system. It has a bathroom with a shower, sink, and toilet. It also has a kitchenette and seating area on the ground floor. It has a small patio outside for guests to enjoy a meal. It has been constructed using fire retardant exterior finishes, and it's built to accommodate 4 guests. There is parking for the 4 vehicles on my lot and parking for 1 in my garage if required. My intention is to rent the guest house during the summer season, primarily June to September. If there's a demand for rental space during the winter, which there has been, but I haven't accommodated, this may be a consideration in the future. Rental will be available for a minimum of 3 to 5 stays during the summer season. The main house will be available to rent for 4 to 8 weeks during July and August season only. This unit would have on-site management with expectations as follows. Check-in 4, check-out at 11, strictly no parties or events, no additional guests. Verify guests over 25, so it wouldn't be rented to young, 18-year-olds. Quiet outside after 11, adhere to local bylaws. There is a fire pit at the back that they will be expected to adhere to the fire bans. I live in the main house in front, so my quality of life is important. The quality of life of my neighbors is important, so having on-site management and regulating the guests that are coming in and out and the noise level is important to me and my neighbors. So my request is to be able to rent out my guest house behind, which is a standalone unit, and my main house in the summer season. I live there throughout the year. I'm a teacher here in the community. I travel in the summer. It'd be nice if I could rent out my space if I go away and have management to manage it. So that is my request today. There is a high demand for spaces in Winnipeg Beach. I get a lot of requests. I've had a lot of family and friends come, and they've got to see Winnipeg Beach, and actually some people have actually bought places here because they love it. You know, they get to come and experience. I've got people from all over Europe come and stay in our community, and they're like blown away. And I think it's really nice for people to have the opportunity to come and see what we offer. And I think it's important if we can provide spaces, you know, local spaces for people to come and have a quality visit, a quality space, which it is, and get to experience our beautiful town. And I'm open to any questions, if anybody has any concerns.
I just wanted to say, I've been the neighbor.
We'll just hold off for a moment, sorry.
Okay.
You will have an opportunity to speak. This is just a meeting, so would like to address the applicant.
I do have a couple of questions of the applicant. So you live in the main house, which would provide on-site management, but you're also looking to rent both your main house and your guest house. So how would you be providing on-site management if you are renting out your main house?
I have a wonderful neighbor who is right there, and I also have a management company who's local that can address any concerns, but I also have someone right next door.
Okay, so
It's been amazing.
in your absence when it's being booked,
Yeah.
he would be deferred to as the on-site management. You indicated that in your guest house you have a kitchenette.
Yeah.
What all is in that kitchenette?
We have, it's yeah, it's a sink and a bar fridge and a toaster oven and a hot plate, coffee maker, and there's a barbecue outside.
Okay, so no stove.
No
So it
stove.
means conditions of a guest cottage. Okay. So I did have one other one. Parking.
Yes, so I can accommodate 4 in my lot, right behind my house, my main house, so
Okay.
there's 4.
Yeah.
Enough for 4, and I have a garage for my personal car.
Okay, so if you're there, your car can go in the garage
Yeah,
and up to, well, although the place doesn't.
up to 4, and it's
vehicles.
never used.
No, and I'm just, and while it might not be, I'm just trying to cover all bases of
Yeah.
the situation. So there is room for up to 4.
Yeah.
And if you are renting both the main and the guest cottage at the same time.
So
to
there's
2
enough for
different
2 per group, and that
Okay.
is.
And so then would you be limiting the vehicle use
Yeah.
to,
They wouldn't be using the street parking.
so you would not, if this goes through and if there is a condition to parking, you would be able to satisfy that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then, sorry, did I one other thing? Are you currently on Airbnb with the properties?
Yeah, but there's nothing, I've just shut it down until I have this.
So what had you been renting?
Just the back and the front and back together, so last summer.
So you've already been renting out the back on its own.
Yeah,
So then what brings you to us today?
because I got a letter saying I need to apply for this. which
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't realize, so
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I was gonna go forward with it, so it's been just closed off. And then I applied for Interlake Planning.
Okay, great.
So this summer, my intention would be to maybe rent the main house for 1 month and the back for like June, July, August, probably. Mainly July, August. Those are the times where people want to rent.
And then, sorry, just one other thing. You said that you would be only renting to guests 25 and older.
Yeah.
So Airbnb allows you to restrict
Yeah,
the person who engages in the agreement with you,
yeah.
but what control do you have over their guests all being 25 and over?
Well, having on-site people watching. I don't, you can't go and verify their
So,
guests.
okay, so you're
But the
not, it's
person-
not that you're verifying guests, you will only rent to an individual 25 or older. You have no control over who they have there,
No.
age-wise. Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
However, they have to have reviews, positive reviews from other hosts that they have stayed and had, you know,
And I understand that, but that still doesn't guarantee who they're bringing with them.
right.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
There's also a minimum amount of people that can stay. They can't bring additional guests.
Yeah.
And there's a strict no party event clause.
Okay, great, thank you.
And, sorry, one more thing. If there was a situation where there was a party, I would have the right to have them removed. So that's the other thing.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
And one more thing, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
In the past, it really traditionally has been couples or young families coming that just want to go to the beach. It hasn't been young people because I live there and they don't like that. They don't want to come party in your backyard, right? So when they're like, oh, you live there? Yes, you know, so it's been, I've had nothing but great reviews and families or young couples. Yeah.
And while I have no reason to doubt anything you're saying, I do have a responsibility as a
I
counselor at
agree.
the table
And
to
you
make
never
sure
know,
that
things
it's
happen.
all covered off, yeah.
Things
Okay.
happen, so yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I would just like to say, yes, we do have a great need for rental places out here. And I've been by your place, it's very nice, by the way. That's all I got.
All the insurance and everything is,
There's extra insurance for having extra guests, yeah.
okay.
It's through locally.
Oh, sorry, Larry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, great looking house and guest house,
Oh, thank you.
very nicely built, Mrs. Suzuki. Great rules are strict, and I'd like to probably enforce those with other Airbnbs if we ever come down the road. So, very nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have not received any written letters of support or objection. So I will go through the listing of people wishing to speak for the matter. I'll start with Liz.
Yeah, Betsy.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I've been a neighbor since the buildings have been constructed, and there's never been any problems with parking or partying, or they've always been really nice people, and there's never been any issues, so just as being in support of the way they run it. They keep it good and clean and tidy, and, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Council, any? Okay. Ron Suzuki?
Okay. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Ron Suzuki, and I own the 3 adjacent properties of 2 posies. So I own one property to the towards the lake and 2 the other way. I'm also the owner of the yoga studio, and I also run my construction business out of the building as well. So I have a lot invested in the area, so I kind of did a quick review of it, because I always like to review things and put everything in context, and just as a business owner, as a resident, as a developer in the area, I look at what comparable operations are in this commercial district, because it is a commercial district, not a residential district. So if you look at the Rose, it has a residential home, and it has, I believe, 6 units. So Posey's is actually a smaller scale. And then the Lone Hotel, that has a residence, and it has, I don't know how many units, I think at least a dozen units there.
Yeah,
So that's
more
another-
longer term.
No, they're more longer term. And the Winnipeg Beach Hotel has units upstairs, even the Breakwater here, which is just recently purchased by a new owner. There's 2 suites upstairs. So I think when you look at it, it's nice that there are other, not only Posey's property, but to attract people to the area, because there is a shortage, because especially summer season, it's booked. Like, people are booking like months and months, like 6 months in advance. So the more people we can get to the area is benefit to the area. Because I do believe having these quality builds is an attraction. And it really, I believe, like I get compliments almost every day if I'm in my front yard of people that are visiting Winnipeg Beach saying that the quality of the builds. And that makes me feel good, but it also, I believe it helps Winnipeg Beach too, because it makes, it's a whole feeling that when people come to Winnipeg Beach and they see new builds, they see good quality construction, because those homes there are not just your standard build. They're not a standard construction build. They're built to a higher quality, probably higher than most suburban developments in Winnipeg right now. And they're comparable to what builds I see in Western Canada, where properties are costing $1 million or more. So I always try to do things also, the last, like all those buildings are also showcasing things. They're showcasing energy efficiency. They're showcasing highly durable materials. All the materials in those builds have about a 40-year life. A lot of builds are only 10-year life in a lot of components and materials, but they're all high quality. So when guests come, you can showcase, you can sell them too and tell them why it looks so good or operates so well, because it's all high quality materials, like high quality cabinetry. It's all plywood construction, high quality European hardware. So not only is it an investment, but it's like for 20 years, you won't have to do any maintenance on these properties. So they're gonna look good for 30 years too as well. Like 10 years from now, they'll look the same as they do today because of the high quality materials. And then I can speak to some of the guests, not only, like Posey has a lot of guests, he has family from Europe that come here. I've had friends stay in the guest house from Europe as well. And it's nice to hear the positive comments like what Posey said, that when people come here who have never been here and they come to a nice community, they can walk everywhere. They don't have to get in the car. They can walk to the beach. They can walk to restaurants. So there's so many, I believe, spin-offs. And I know Posey knows someone that stayed there and moved to the area. And I know another couple that stayed at Posey's guest house. And they actually, because they asked me, because I'm the builder, and they asked me about properties in the area, and they built a new house on Hazel. So there's these spin-off benefits when you provide something like this. Not only are you, Posey gets maybe a little bit of income, but there's spin-offs in the local economy. And when you have people staying there, they're supporting the businesses. Like, if I have friends stay at Posey's guest house, or they're in my house when I wait, I make a booking at Casablanca for them. You know, because it's showcasing the area again, because it's such a good restaurant. And my friends from Europe said that was the best restaurant they've been to, hands down. And they're from Switzerland and Germany. So that kind of shows, again, showcasing Winnipeg Beach. So, like I said, shortage of accommodations. And in terms of, I do understand sometimes people's concern for noise. And Posey has it well under control. And this is, as I speak also as a resident, because I used to have a cottage for 30 years on Hazel. And I had more problems with noise with my neighbors there. They weren't Airbnb people. They're having parties than I do in the central business area. It's actually quieter here than it is in the cottage area. And another side note, this is maybe for council, is, and I was guilty of it too, because I bought a cottage when I was young and I partied. And my neighbors had to put up with my party. Like, I'm no angel either. But I remember my neighbors having a party, and there was their kids, and they're shooting fireworks off at 2 in the morning. But the good thing is the bylaw has a $1,000 fine. So I didn't have to call the bylaw officer. I just had to go to the neighbors, talk to the kids, and tell them, you know, there's a $1,000 fine. Well, I never heard any fireworks after that. So I think that there's things in place to control the things like the noise. Like if there was a bylaw that maybe a fine for noise, because it's not just Airbnb that could be making, it could be anybody making noise. It could be a resident, it could be someone's kid or something. So it could have been me, right? I could have been fined. So when I was young. So I'm just saying that for that reason, it shouldn't be not allowed. But I think there's so many benefits to having something like this in Winnipeg Beach. And I still have another vacant lot to develop. And I would like to maybe do something like another guest house, so, because it starts to build. Like if someone comes to my property, if I'm renting it out, especially the fishermen, then they have a friend that needs another bedroom, so then Posey's place could, so there could be benefits. You can get maybe 10 fishermen staying in town. Well, 10 fishermen, Americans, they spend a lot of money. You see their rigs, they don't have no shortage of money. They're driving $120,000.
Excuse me, Ron. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're limited on time.
So anyways, that's
But
what I'm
it-
saying. I'll end there, so.
Go ahead, Doug.
I, as indicated by another neighbor, have been a neighbor
Yeah.
for as long as Ron has had those buildings, and I've never heard one single peep out of any of those buildings. And I go back, as was mentioned by Ms. Hibbert, when that was just a vacant lot. So what you've done is commendable, and I stand behind you that I've never heard a peep come out of that corner.
Any further, council? No? Okay, thank you. We'll now hear for those against. Dawati?
Yeah, that's for the,
This is for the conditional use.
I think, I apologize, I wanted to do for a different one, the food trucks.
Okay, thank you. So then we will remove you from the list.
I understood.
Okay,
Yep, ready to go?
yeah.
Agenda item 5.3, close public hearing for conditional use TWB-25-04C. Mover. Oh, I never read the rest of this, sorry. Be it hereby resolved, the council now close the public hearing for the conditional use TWB-25-04C and council reconvene to the regular meeting of council at
6:28 p.m.
We'll try this again. Got a mover? Seconder? All in favor? Never seen their hands go up.
I'm quick, that's okay.
I'm slow. Carried. Agenda item 5.4, decision for conditional use application of TWB-25-04C. Whereas the applicant, owner of the property located at 15 Center Avenue and legally described as Lot 21, Block B, Plan 725, roll number 6110 in the town of Winnipeg Beach has applied to the town of Winnipeg Beach for conditional use TWB/25/04C to permit a tourist cottage establishment. Therefore, be it resolved, after careful consideration for the application and any representations made for or against the conditional use, the Council of Winnipeg Beach in meetings duly assembled this 23rd day of April 2025 approves conditional use TWB/25/04C with the following conditions. Does council have any conditions?
Just gotta move her.
Oh, sorry. Mover, please. I'm usually ahead of myself on that one. Seconded? Doug? No, all in favor? Oh, conditions.
I'd like to say condition, as it relates to the parking, that there be, the maximum number of, vehicles allowed attached to the, as it relates to the rental of the guest house is 4, and never a more combined total between the main house and the guest cottage of 5. So that we all know we already have a parking issue. It eliminates cars taking up spaces in front of the,
Yeah, makes sense. Doug?
Are we still allowed to ask questions?
of the applicant? Because my concern would be that there's also unless I'm wrong, would the yoga studio be available? And I'm gonna guess there's another 6 to 8 parking spots there, which is right beside it. So, they own other property. Just a question, they own other property, and if that is available for parking as well, I mean, it is personal property.
No, go ahead.
The yoga studio's over here. The
So
yoga
the
studio
other
is
building's right
not-
there.
Okay, but they're not the applicant. The applicant is the owner of this property, not the other
Could there be an
properties.
agreement between the two of them then?
Well,
I only say that because
Yeah.
even downtown, like we use vacant lots as parking lots, and we have agreements with other people. Like we use, we have copious town parking downtown, and we don't own the land, and we have agreements with these people. So could there not be an agreement between, say, the yoga studio and the owner, and that would keep all of the cars off the city, off the town streets? We have town parking right there, right behind the Breakwater Cafe.
okay, but right now, I think what's before us is her request, and what
Oh.
I am suggesting is, I mean, she's indicated in her presentation and any questioning that there's ample parking for what's there. All I am saying is, suggesting is, because of the parking issues we have, that one of the conditions we put in is that, renters are only allowed a maximum of 4 vehicles for renting with the guest house. And if the guest house and the main house are both being rented together, a maximum of 5, because that's the number of parking spots she's indicated she has on her property.
I understand that. I
So
think.
I'll just tell you from my experience, Councillor Jarvis, with renting Airbnbs is often in the post, they indicate the number of parking stalls. It's not uncommon to see that in an Airbnb post. Parking available for 1 car, parking available for how many cars. So all this is suggesting is that would then require her to include it in her Airbnb
And it is already.
description. Okay. But by putting it in there, then it just confirms that it's there and it stays there.
Did she answer your question?
No,
No.
now is
No.
not the time, unfortunately.
But she did address that when I was
Yeah.
asking questions, that there is room for a total of 5 vehicles when she's not there.
Yeah, it's never been an issue as far as more cars. It's max, normally they come at 1, sometimes 2 per, sometimes 5.
So, do we want to put a condition on that she's already put on herself?
By it being in here, it does not allow her to change it. That's the importance of it being here,
Okay.
is that it then can't be changed on her part. If conditions are laid out and they're not met, the person then loses that conditional approval that we've given.
Right. We have no way of enforcing the parking restrictions without the addition of a condition.
So, you want 4 for the main and 5 for the additional guest house?
Well, at no time to exceed 4 vehicles if it's just the rental of the guest house, and 5 vehicles if both the guest house and the main house are being rented at the same time.
So it'd be, I think, easier to put it just no more than 5 on the
Yeah.
property.
But I agree.
But if she's there and she's occupying one of them, where's that 5th vehicle gonna park?
It's not going to. It'll be
No, but you,
something,
no,
there shouldn't be a 5th.
what you're saying is no more than 5.
Mhm.
But if the homeowner is there, she's one of the 5, but we're saying that she can have no more than, then, okay, no more than 5, including the property owner's vehicle.
Right, when the property
Yes,
owner's not there.
including the property owner's vehicle,
Okay,
Yeah, I'm okay.
yeah.
we're good with that?
Okay, so,
Oh, you're right, no?
yeah, let me just
Okay.
make sure we've got this. So, I've worded the condition that parking must be provided on the property and that parking is restricted to 5 spots, including the property owner's vehicle.
Makes sense to me.
Okay? Okay.
So you've got the separate resolution for that?
Yeah, I've added it into that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's done then.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. No more, any more discussion? We're all good? All in favor? Carried. On 5. Closed is then?
Yep.
Okay. Agenda item number 6, confirmation of minutes. Be it hereby resolved, the minutes of April 9th, 2025, regular meeting be approved as circulated. Have a mover, please. Larry. Seconder? Kurt, result, no, I already did that one, so, all in favor? Carried. I was gonna ask for discussion. Excuse me. Agenda item 7.1, accounts payable approval. Be it hereby resolved that council approves the accounts payable listings being check number 24217 to 24296, inclusive of checks, electronic payments, and payroll issued in amount of $139,246.92 as circulated. Have a mover, please. Seconder? Ready? Any discussion? Yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple on the checks. One is check number 24234, and I believe it's Peter Bolfinger. We've got a March and a February. Now I understand that he's resigned, and I don't think there's any more work. Does this mean is this his last paycheck, or how's this working?
The last date of work is end of May, so there will be minimal hours.
So yeah, because his contract I think indicates it's billable hours, correct?
Correct.
Right. So I mean,
Only hours
obviously,
worked.
I mean, ergo, he's already given notice. We've accepted notice. If he doesn't do any work, then he doesn't bill us, and so this could. And I know in these checks there were the winter weekend, etc. So, and then I have another couple more. EV charger, check number 24268 for $46.81, and obviously that's the power we pay.
Correct.
How do we? Where does the revenue from that EV charger show up? In that the financial statement, or?
The revenue shows up as a separate.
But how would we be able to correlate to what we're spending on hydro and what we're receiving for the usage of that hydro?
Yes, so administration is working on preparing a report that will show a total of what revenue versus what the expense was for last year to help assist in determining rates
And
going
could we
forward.
have this in the future included with a monthly financial statement? This is something that I only say this because I've asked this a few times, and I've already we were in doubt as to what to charge. Initially, when we got the chargers, we weren't certain, so a lot of it was recommended that we take a low rate to at least, goodwill, so people would use it with electric vehicles. And it seems now with hydros applying for a 3.5% increase, if we're losing money on it, and I've heard tell that other municipalities now are changing their rate structure so that, if all we do is break even, it's our favorite, but if we're losing money right now, we might want to visit that. So,
Is this a report that council would like to see going forward? For EV charger?
for the
Or just a
financial
one
statement.
time For financial statements?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Is that, how often do we get information on the revenue of the EV charger? That's the thing,
It's-
it might not correlate with
Yeah,
a
it's,
monthly.
Well, then I don't care quarterly, but
Yeah.
like, right now, we have no idea if we're losing $100, $200, or we're actually making money. And
yeah.
it seems senseless to put it in there and have no idea what's happening.
Okay, we'll see if we can prepare a 2024 report, and then just.
And as
based
Councillor
on that.
Zandron has indicated, if it comes out quarterly, then albeit quarterly.
Well, and I think the 2024 report should help us in making decisions when we're doing budget as to whether or not we need to increase our charges and.
For sure. Okay, sounds good.
And then I have another one, check number 24271, and I believe it's listed as fire department, but I'm assuming that the acronym is SCUBA, but I'm not certain what SCBA means. So I'm indicating that. And it's 24271.
I can
Yes.
answer that. That's the self-contained breathing apparatus the firefighters use for their tanks.
Okay, yeah, so that, and,
Got nothing to do with scuba diving.
okay, but that's not uncommon.
No,
No, it's $11,000, so,
Yeah.
yeah. No, granted, I just wasn't sure, and when I see the alphabet behind it, I always want to know what
Yeah.
that is.
They time out is what happens,
So,
so you have to replace them.
okay, and then I have a 242, I'm taking up most of the time here, 24278, and that's at mid legislate, I'm assuming update printing for $500 and something, I believe it was. I just need to know what that is. 24278.
24278. That is to update the mayors of Winnipeg Beach signs that are in our council
Okay,
chambers.
perfect. That's, I'm done.
Oh, sorry, Rick.
Yeah, I have one, check number 24295, second from the bottom. Exhaust cleaning service. Did that exhaust have to be cleaned, or was it cleaned last time the restaurant was in there, or is this,
So in speaking with the health inspector, they advised that we need to be cleaning the exhaust system twice a year. So this clean was the first of the year. That being said, we are going to be looking into it as the canteen is not being actively utilized. So if it is still required to be done twice a year.
Go ahead.
I'll back that. I had the same question. And I can guarantee you that if it's not being used, you don't have to clean it. And I've used the example, when you clean your stove and you don't use your stove, you don't clean it every 6 months if you never use the stove. And I can attest to that as a former restaurant operator. If you don't use your equipment, because you need the certificate, and if they have to inspect it. So if it's being cleaned now, and it's never going to be used again, then this should be the final cleaning.
Yeah, and we'll confirm that.
But we can't confirm whether or not it was dirty prior to this cleaning, and that's the only thing we can't do. So
Yeah.
now we know that it's clean, and if it's never used, then it should probably never be expensed again.
Go ahead, Barry.
24284, HR services, what was that for?
24284. People First HR Services.
Yeah, what is that?
That was for the code of conduct investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 24296, it's a welder. Do we have the people here that actually weld?
I would have to confirm with the department,
Okay.
with Public Works on that.
What did they want?
Anyone else? We're good? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 9, number 9.1, business license bylaw proposal. Discussion.
So I'll just start this off. Following the last meeting, council had requested an update on the food cart pilot projects. So I've included an update as of April 2025 for council consideration. If council wishes to provide a direction for administration, I'll need a resolution.
Okay. So you're looking for like a timeline?
If council would like to give me direction to to do any further action,
Yeah, I
then you can let me know, but I've prepared the report as requested.
Any questions? Any statements? Yes, we're good.
Okay.
So we need a mover and a seconder for it's empty. Agenda item 10.1 Food Cart Pilot Project Phase 2. Whereas Council Resolution 2023/028 provided authorization for a pilot project to permit a food cart vendor at the farmer's market for the 2023 season. And whereas Council has reviewed and accepted the final report for Phase 1 of the food cart pilot project, and whereas Council directed administration at its March 27th, 2024 meeting to prepare a Phase 2 pilot project proposal to permit food cart vendors within the downtown core. Therefore, be it resolved that Council approve the food cart pilot project Phase 2 proposal as presented, and be it further resolved that administration proceed with implementation of Phase 2 for the 2025 season. Be it further resolved that Council direct administration to monitor, collect feedback, and report findings to Council on conclusion of the 2025 season. Can I get a mover? Seconder, please. Discussion. Yeah, Jim.
We received, as a council, we received emails from 3 business owners that highly objected to further food cart use in the community. These are all 2 are long-term, long-standing businesses and business owners regarding 3 businesses. One is a long-standing business with a new owner that objected. And then we had one in support of by a new business owner in the community. Long-standing business, new business owner. There was discussion at the last meeting about this. I understand that, and I received a couple of phone calls from individuals who questioned this being tabled. But it was tabled for important reasons, and that is we did not have all of the information at hand to make a decision that is in the best interest of the community. And I hope that the community can understand that when items are tabled, it's not because we don't want to make decisions, it's because we want to make informed decisions. We didn't have this information to be making the decision with, didn't have the input from the local business owners. You know, there has been some discussion of it will attract people to our community. We already have a parking problem. I don't know how much more we want to attract to this community. And it's not that I don't want to attract. We have other things we need to address before we make moves to be attracting people. But the 3 businesses put some compelling information forward as to what impact they think it's going to have on their businesses. It's not that they're against competition, but they're bricks and mortars that invest in the community, not just in their taxes. They support ongoing events in the community. They support when, you know, the fire department's fundraising and the food cupboard's looking for donations or looking for support. And one of the things that was raised that really stood out was, what support are we going to get from food truck vendors? Other than whatever we decide is their licensing fee, what support are they going to provide to the community? So these are just things that were raised that are things that need to be considered when we make a decision about this.
I agree with you. What I'd like to see is a ballot box, people can come in and vote in it, something online, they can vote. They want it, they don't want it, then we get a picture of the whole town. Maybe half the town doesn't want it, maybe 3/4 do. And then everybody gets a voice in this, because it's everyone's town, you know? So that's what I propose, is we have some kind of a vote, put it on for, say, a month, or what is this, end of May? Till the end of June? And they can come in if they're going by and just drop a ballot in, we'll have the ballots here, or online. I guess they could phone in too, but you never know who's on the phone. Yeah, go ahead.
Couple of things, well, and just quickly on that point, is that you would have to determine anybody's name in there that they're an actual property owner here. Because one of the questions that I asked, I think the last time, well, I've asked it a couple of times, is what problem are we trying to solve, or what concern are we trying to resolve by putting a food truck in there? Because if the concern is that there isn't enough food for the people that are at the beach, is every single person at the beach a resident of Winnipeg Beach? Now, if we're trying to satisfy non-residents that come up here as a day trippers, and then we're going to exacerbate a problem, an existing problem, as mentioned on parking, etc., and also accessibility, and I'll get to it in a second, then all we're doing is exacerbating a problem. These people come from somewhere else, they set up shop on Main Street. The people that visit the beach, the day trippers, use those things, and there's no return to the town. There's no investment into that. And then that segues into my original thing is, and as a former business on Main Street, I would pay $350 just to get a sidewalk patio. And there are people right now that are paying almost $600 for a sidewalk patio. We have somebody that can come in here and for $300 set up shop on Main Street, cheaper than a patio, and they can take up as much space, if not more space, on the sidewalk than a sidewalk patio. So example, and I'll use one of the people, and I'm gonna, I'll mention that it's the restaurant's Johnny's. Johnny he spends $350 to get 8 chairs on his sidewalk. $350 to get 8 chairs on a sidewalk, and we're going to let somebody come in here for $100 as a non-resident license and get an opportunity to do business on Main Street. And then the other segue is, and Councillor Gendron leaned on it a bit, is that as a property owner, I pay property tax downtown. As a business, I pay commercial. I'm assessed at a commercial rate, which is 20% higher than residential. I pay utilities. I have to employ local people to clean tables and sweep floors and clean washrooms and that. And somebody comes in here with absolutely no capital invested, and this is one of my original complaints, and I like the phase 2 and the phase 3, is that again, they set up shop in town. We pay our own town people to pick up the garbage. We pay our own town people to sweep the streets, and we pay our own town people to clean the washrooms. There has to be some sort of return to the town when we afford, and let's call it, heaven forbid, Potton Enterprises has a food truck on the street. He pays $300. He's there. He does business, and he drives his truck home every night, and we clean up after him. You know what I mean? I'm not against food carts. I've never been against it, but we have to play ball by the same rules. And that's all I have to say about that.
I agree with a lot of your points. For one, the plan I was working towards, and we've never got that far, was it's not going to be on Main Street. It's going to be, if everything works out, on the empty lot where we put snow. There.
But and again, I hear you, and I agree.
That gets them off of Main Street.
But
and we have to figure out a fee structure. Maybe the first year a little less to get them coming back. The biggest thing I'm looking at here is feed all the people. Just walk down the beach and everyone says not enough food.
I hear you, but
we're trying to please the people that come out.
Right, it's an immeasurable, and I've had a discussion even because I was part with Councillor Gendron of the I don't know, renegotiating a contract, I guess, and we've had situations through long weekends where because of the work schedule with our public works staff, is that we end up with 2 or 3 days a summer where there's nobody to pick up the garbage. And you can go down Main Street, and I've sent pictures in, and there's pizza boxes from Pizza, which isn't here. There's Kentucky Fried Chicken boxes, like the whole street is overflowing. And I'm not suggesting that they're not spending money here, I'm suggesting that the problem is bigger than being able to solve with 4 or 5 food trucks. I think we're just, and I've used the word exacerbated 2 or 3 times. I think we're really, I like the phase 2 and I like the phase 3, and we went through that before. If you read it in its entirety, it's got a lot of the narrative that we're talking about now, a lot of that is in those things. And if we're gonna put those into effect, then have at it. Let's use some of the town parking lots. Let's put them over here by the skate park. We own property over there. We own property over by the Larch, the, whatever that is, the flower garden. We own property over there. So, yeah, we can get them out of downtown and put them somewhere else. But if we're gonna do it, then do phase 2 and phase 3. We passed a resolution that we would do it.
So if we're gonna get them out of downtown, you think somebody from the beach is gonna walk?
Right now, they're parking on Churchill and they're walking to the beach. So I can't see why they wouldn't park on Churchill and walk to a food truck. And you know that, and I know that. They're using the school parking lot as, on any long weekend, that school parking lot is filled, and for sure, they're not at school.
And also the part about picking up garbage, I want to understand that we have 2 of our town workers that are changing their shifts to work.
Yes, Councilor Gendron and I went through that. We established now that there'll be no days in the summer that we do not have town staff available for cleaning up.
So that means that.
That's resolved.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. So I'm a little perplexed at where these people are that are saying they can't get food, because we've had multiple discussions about people coming, when discussing the parking, about people coming to the beach with their coolers, pulling their wagons full of food and sitting there all day and not moving their cars. So that's been discussed multiple times. So I'm just not sure where these people are that aren't being fed.
A lot of it's the lineups, times of 45 minutes. That's reality. And I can't get over this, it'll bring more people. That's sort of what I thought we were hoping for. Destination Winnipeg Beach was set up to bring more people here. And now we don't want to bring more.
I hear you.
No, I'd like to clarify, because that's in reference to something I said. I did not say I don't want to bring more people. I said we have other problems that we have not dealt with, like our parking. So it does not make sense to me to be shoving things to bring more people here where we have nowhere for them to park. And that we need to perhaps look at other things that need to be resolved first. I am all for people coming to this community. I am all for people coming here and supporting our local business. But by making a decision on food carts when we have had businesses express, not just to say we don't like it, but to go into specific detail about the impacts it would have on their businesses, the impacts it would have on drawing future businesses to this town. Why would I come and open a restaurant in a town that has food carts that, you know, could be taking potential customers away from me? I think this is more than, after what has been presented by the local businesses. Phase 2 was decided before all of that input from the businesses. We now have businesses speaking up about their concerns with this, and I think we need to be taking a closer look at what the businesses have brought forward to us.
Well, we've all read the emails, so we know what the concerns are. And if I had a restaurant in town, I'd probably have the same concern. But if we have more people coming here and we can't feed enough of them fast enough, we need something else. So that goes back to my, let's have some way to vote on it, for the public to vote on it and the businesses to vote on it. And everybody put their 2 bits in. Sorry, go ahead.
So where is the information and the stats to support people aren't getting fed when they come here? Like,
They can get fed if they wait
no, but what are you basing that on? I'm asking
on what
Mayor
people have
Cotton.
said.
What people have said. No,
I
if we're going
never
to,
took names.
all I'm asking for is if we're gonna make a decision of this magnitude, one way or the other, I would like for it to be a decision based on solid information and solid facts. That's all I'm asking.
So, are we interested in a vote system for this?
What do you mean by vote system?
Well, somebody can vote yes, they want it, or no, they don't.
I don't think you're, I would not be interested in that right now, because I would like the phase 2 and the phase 3. And if you've read them, I mean, I'm looking at phase 3 and there's a copious recommendations on it. I would like to, we passed a resolution to approve phase 2 and phase 3 and we never implemented them. Am I wrong about that?
Council passed a resolution to direct administration to prepare phase 2 and phase 3 proposals.
And we've never ever done that.
Which the proposals are just being presented at this meeting now.
Right,
So council has not approved the proposals at this time. So that is the resolution before council right now to approve phase 2 in order for further steps to happen.
And is that what you're referring to? Passing a vote on that?
Well, I'm actually saying we can hold the vote on this. Let's.
So what you're suggesting, we
let's-
hold a vote yes or no for food trucks, not yes or no for phase 2 or phase 3?
No, I never did say that.
No, that's my question. Like, are you suggesting right now that we
Well, we
vote
have to
for?
go through the phases. That's just how it is.
Right, so what you're saying then is we vote as to phase 2 and phase 3, and in that you're saying that we locate the food truck somewhere other than downtown?
So
Because it,
So the way it's been presented to council is, step 1 would be to approve like the proposal of it in itself. And then separate resolutions are done further down the agenda to break out, approving the number of vendors permitted under phase 2. And then another separate resolution to approve the locations to which they would operate under phase 2. And finally, a third resolution to give direction on the approval process, whether council would like to approve individual vendor applications or if they would give administration the ability to approve within the scope that council deems necessary. But those are further discussions.
in the business bylaw, it indicates that the approval would be you.
Right, but this proposal, this project is outside of that scope of the
Correct,
bylaw.
but once, if you're issuing a license and permits, et cetera, because if you read the proposals, it's everything that was in the Manitoba Health Guidelines on food, what they call them, mobile food service units. All of that stuff is in our proposal, our pilot projects, all of that's in there. And again, you would appoint someone to be responsible to make sure that all of the criteria was met.
Yeah, so that resolution would just clarify the stance on that.
Right, and then as Mayor Pottins indicated, about a separate location is that in the phase 3, we would go into approving a proper location for that.
Phase 3 is an entirely separate one from phase 2. It is its own separate location, not the downtown area. It is strictly at the golf.
And I apologize for all of the questions, but
Yeah.
there's an awful lot of information here. Like, we should have eaten this elephant one bite at a time instead of putting 7 or 8 things on here at
And-
once.
And council may want to look back at past practice where first heard deferred to further digest this if council so chooses.
That was my intention for this. We're not putting them up there tomorrow. I would still like to get the town's opinion
Yeah.
through a vote of some kind, somehow.
Get-
An email and on a box on the counter and put their name in, and it has that name and address.
Yeah, we need to verify that they're an actual resident.
Yeah.
Because a lot, and again, with the business bylaws, a lot of it says resident and non-resident. And then there's other, in the business bylaw, I don't know the proper way to describe it, there's other factors involved as to operation and how often and so on and so forth.
And this time of year for the next month, there's not gonna be a lot of
Okay,
non-residents.
I'm clear now. Sometimes I'm thick, but I'm clear now.
Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, I support Mayor Potton's idea with a vote of some sort or getting the public's input. I would also like us to, in fair to business, again, have limits on how many carts are in town at a time. I don't want to have, say 8 carts here overshadowing the business that's already in place.
I agree.
So just something to think about.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we have the carts too, food carts with different foods other than what our restaurants sell.
Absolutely.
Like pierogies, Indian food, etc., Mexican food.
I'm hoping we can lure some people to come out with, I think, food, all different kinds of foods. It doesn't all have to be hot dogs and hamburgers and french fries, right? And a lot of people that I talk to are actually, they're very interested in that over hot dogs and hamburgers. You could have one hot dog cart, say, and the rest, turn it up, barbecued ribs, like there's something that isn't selling.
Yeah, it's like the folklorama in the city, right? You got 30 different menus and most of them go there for the shows and for the food tasting.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Like they have
and we
food,
would be no different.
we have food trucks, or they have food truck stores in Winnipeg now, or Assiniboine Downs, that are
Yeah,
tracking tens of
That backs up
thousands.
what you said though, is that they're off-site and Folklorama, those people are bricks and mortar and they're paying property tax.
So
So,
we'd have to work it out in the end so that this is gonna be as much as a property tax. Sit here for a season. Because it's just more tax, right?
Mhm.
That's my thoughts. I mean, everybody else throw in their, I mean,
Yeah, no.
there's 5 of us in here, 6, sorry.
I don't have a vote.
Boy, you're lucky. So that was my thought. There was no intention of it getting passed and having a hot dog cart there next week. There was no intention.
No, I don't think anybody was talking about hot dog carts. I understand the concept, I mean, I'm familiar with it. So, there's been plenty of wars downtown Winnipeg, trust me.
Yeah, well, pick your battles when you're worse. Mine's tourism. I want tourism and I want to be able to feed them, and I want to give the residents also a chase of something else. That doesn't mean anybody's gonna run out of business. I mean,
Sometimes
how
I
often do I go to your store, Rob? Like, that's how it is, like lots.
So
We get our favorites.
we're good to
proceed.
Do we want to go with,
table.
figure out some kind of
So,
voting?
like, from what I'm hearing from council, like, if you would like to, please provide direction to me to table this. If you wanted to do a separate resolution to proceed with like a public engagement
Yep.
consultation process,
Correct.
that can be done as a separate resolution.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yep. I guess that's our discussion. Everybody good with, we'll table this?
Table it and go
And
with the
then-
resolution to allow public engagement.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was my intention.
Yep, no, that's fine.
That's just
I'm all
part of
for that because this is
steps,
too big of
right?
a decision for 5 of us to make.
Okay.
So we're good, all in favor? Table it?
Table.
Carried. Thank you. You make the resolution for the, okay.
This is not going to change our current bylaw that allows current establishments the ability to have food carts adjacent to their property. We're not changing that. We bypassed the whole, that's not gonna change.
Well, we haven't changed anything.
No, that's what I'm
in
saying,
the-
that is staying, we decided we were leaving the business license bylaw as was, as it relates to food carts.
Yeah.
So that stays, and
This one.
existing businesses still have the
Yeah,
opportunity.
that one's still, I'm
To do
led to
it.
believe that's still legitimate.
Yeah.
And there was some confusion though, and I think I'm right, because I reread it again, that you said only during boardwalk days, but according to this, I read it as that if somebody wants to have it and have an existing business, then they
Yeah.
can put it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then, yes, and
Like
that.
you read it that way
So,
after?
yeah, I read it out
Because
that way
initially-
after, and we skipped over the resolution, we said we weren't dealing with it, so we are leaving that bylaw the way it
Right,
reads.
so, yeah, you,
Yeah, but they can be open more than just boardwalk days and stuff.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah, no.
exactly, but that's what
My
we said.
point being, let's be
Yeah.
clear, we are leaving that bylaw, we skipped over it, meaning we are leaving it.
So it's
Which was the
untouched.
start of the whole conversation at the last meeting, which was to change that, and we're not changing it.
Correct.
We're leaving it, okay.
And you're correct as well, it's just, yeah.
Okay. So I've drafted a resolution that reads, be it resolved that council direct administration to engage a public consultation process to gather information on the food cart pilot project phase 2.
Yep.
Okay, we're just doing phase 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll let you get a mover on that resolution.
Mover, please. Doug. Seconder, Larry. All in favor? Carried. Oh, I got nothing to say.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. All right, so then with that in mind, I would consider, we'll just go forward past agenda item 10.1.1 and 10.1.2 and 10.1.3 as they all relate to decisions required after the approval of phase 2. Okay.
Yeah,
Sure, I have
yeah.
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's right.
you want them in this?
Yeah, just keep them in order, thank you.
So we've approved public,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, so now just phase 3.
Okay, you're done there?
Yep, I'm good.
Agenda item 10.3, RBC visa changes. Be it resolved that Mayor Stan Potton, Jody Mitchell, and Angela,
Sorry, 10.2, phase 3 of the food cart pilot project.
oh, I thought we were marking them all.
No, the previous resolutions were specific to phase 2.
Gotcha. Agenda item 10.2, food cart pilot project phase 3. Whereas council resolution 2023/028 authorized the implementation of a food cart pilot project with phase 1 completed at the farmers market and phase 2 proposed for the downtown core. And whereas a request has been received to extend the food cart pilot project to the golf course location as a separate phase 3 pilot. And whereas the CEO has presented a phase 3 proposal for council's review, including operational parameters, regulations, and conditions specific to the golf course location. Therefore, be it resolved, council approve the food cart project phase 3 proposal as presented. And be it further resolved that administration proceed with the implementation of phase 3 for the 2025 season at the golf course. And be it further resolved that council direct administration to monitor vendor operations, collect public and business feedback, and report the findings to council upon completion of the 2025 season. Can I get a mover? Okay. Seconder, Barry? Any discussion?
Sorry, can you just give me a second, because I
Yep.
was a little bit confused, and now I'm not, so I just need to relook at something, sorry.
It's moving the cart to the range, correct?
Correct,
Yeah, moving on.
so this would be very similar to phase 1 of the
Right.
pilot project. It would
But
just
it's
be
just
a location
relocating the cart on the same property,
Correct.
Is it, sorry, is it a relocation or is it an additional cart?
relocation.
So pilot project 1 ended,
Yeah.
so that part has ended. It is to locate a food cart at the golf course.
And no longer at the,
Correct.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. Wake me up. In discussion, we're good. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.3, RBC visa changes. Be it resolved that Mayor Stan Potton, Jody Mitchell, and Angela Shindak, am I saying that properly? Thank you. Be appointed as signing authority for the town of Winnipeg Beach accounts with regards to the Royal Bank Visa cards. And be it further resolved that Tara Anichow and Doug Jarvis be removed from signing authority immediately. Ground mover?
Eager beaver.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting sideways, I don't get to see it very much, so straighten it out. Seconder, please. Right. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item, excuse me, after. Agenda item 10.4, Red River Basin Commission Membership 2025. Be it resolved that the council approve the 2025 membership fee for the Red River Basin Commission in an amount of $393.04. And be it further resolved that the council approve an ongoing commitment to the annual Red River Basin Commission membership. Mover. Seconder? Jean. Sorry, I'm supposed to be saying council. Okay. I'm supposed to be saying counselor, and I'm just giving everybody's first name. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.5, council expense pay requests. Be it hereby resolved that council authorize the payment of council expenses past the permitted January 31st annual expense period deadline in the amount of $1,059.97. I mover. Doug, seconder, please. Larry. Discussion?
Just upon reviewing this, I realized there is sort of a bit of a wording issue in our policy itself. The policy itself states to be submitted within 90 days of the expense. And because they're not wanting us to put our expenses in multiple times a month, could that be changed to read within 90 days of the end of the month that the expense occurred? Because they don't want us, and then that way, does that make sense to you, Jody? As opposed to saying not within 90 days of the expense? Because just for example, if an expense occurs on January 1st, you technically have 90 days from the end of the month because we only submit our expenses monthly.
End of April.
Yeah, so if the policy could be changed to say, and within 90 days of the end of the month that the expense occurred?
I can, I'll have to double check to see if it's a policy or bylaw. It's policy?
It's a policy that was just set out.
Okay, I can bring that policy to council.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Well, actually, I'm sorry, I do have one other question. Jody, could admin please remind us annually of the January 31st deadline for, yeah, because I kind of forgot it was even in there.
Email.
Thank you.
We're good? All in favor? Carried. Item 10.6, Winnipeg Beach Community Curling Club raffle prize donation request. Whereas a request for donation has been received by the town of Winnipeg Beach, therefore be resolved that council of the town of Winnipeg Beach authorize the donation in amount of to the Winnipeg Beach Community Curling Club. Mover, please. Seconder? Barry? Discussion.
I'm good with it, just what are we doing? Is it a dollar amount or are they?
That's a dollar figure they have in here, yes.
What do we normally do, 300 or 250?
50, 500.
Well, we got quite a spread there.
Just a reminder, we do get a second request from them in the summer for their curling. I would say if this was the
For the
only
golf,
one,
yeah.
then we could consider the 5, but we get a request twice a year from
Yeah,
them.
so say 250, 250. Yeah, I'm good with that,
Sounds good.
250.
All in favor? Yeah, gotcha. Carried. Agenda item 10.7, appoint an additional tax sale manager. Be it resolved that pursuant to bylaw number 8/2008 of the town of Winnipeg Beach, tax service be appointed to manage property tax arrears recovery for the town of Winnipeg Beach. Be it further resolved that pursuant to the bylaw number 8/2008 of the town of Winnipeg Beach, the following individuals be appointed to the tax sale managers as the town of Winnipeg Beach. Donna Zinke, Vice President of Tax Service, or Tyler Burnside, Associate of Tax Service. Got a mover? Doug, seconder, please. Discussion. I have one question. Is this company from Toronto?
Correct.
Because I know all those people. You all in favor, we're all good? Carried. I thought it looked familiar. Item 10.8, lagoon dredging. If council would like to provide direction, a resolution must be done. Got a mover? Larry?
It's just discussion at this point.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Just discussion right now.
Oh, I got a line filled in there. Have I got? So I can speak on some of this if you like, or if somebody's got something to speak about. I was talking to a company here, I guess we should have printed all these. Assiniboine Injections Limited. They were asked out by the town of Winnipeg Beach in 2019, on August 4th, 2021. They were directed by the town engineer to dredge the lagoon, one cell only. And here he lists his price quote and how he does it all. And at that time, it was for the sum of $242,000 for one cell. He charges to Mobile's machinery here $15,000. They were going to be willing to remove sludge from cell 3 and stockpile on banks this fall for the sum of $80,000 plus GST. This price will be subtracted from the $242,000, which includes hauling away the waste within 12 miles to farmers' fields. And you have different equipment to spread it or put it under the soil. So this goes back to 2021 when the engineer said, your cells are full. Let's get them cleaned up. And that was the engineer's direction. Go ahead.
That was before the, when that was done, because this has been on the agenda a couple of times, but unless I'm wrong, when that was done, the wastewater treatment plant was non-functional. And now it's been functional for an extended period of time, and I'm led to believe that the problem has rectified itself because we are able to drain lagoons, and that's why we're building the viaduct under Kernstead Road. And we're allowed to discharge as required into the lake. But I'm led to believe that because the wastewater treatment plant is functional now, that it's no longer a consideration.
But what about all the sludge that was there?
I don't know.
It's still there. It doesn't take the sludge back out.
I'm I'm just saying that's, I've been led by everybody, including the engineers currently, that when we discussed the rezoning of the property on Highway 9, and we were led to believe that the engineer's report said we have more than enough capacity, that we're fine right now. Like,
Then why did the council then call people in to check?
I don't know, I wasn't on that council.
Well, no, we weren't.
Yeah, that was prior to, we were in the summer of 2022, and we debated, honestly, Mayor Potten, we debated that for a long time.
Oh, I believe.
Yeah, and we went and we met the people that were there, I did, I know, and we talked to them, and then our biggest problem at that time was that the wastewater treatment plant was not functional. So again, if we're gonna do that, I'd like another engineer's report, before I'd commit to that.
And I would like to comment on that. We have been in touch with our engineer, and we are anticipating a report to be presented to council very shortly.
Perfect.
Unfortunately, it was unable to be completed in time for this meeting, but it should be coming very soon.
Yeah, and that would satisfy me. Like if the engineers come and say, hey, no, it's fine, everything's good, because I mean, I was there when the, everybody was at the lagoons, and it was, and you're right, it was a huge concern at the time, but the biggest concern was getting the wastewater treatment plant functional, because it never
But
functioned.
that's just for what's coming out of it.
Well, it's going to, yeah, but we're putting certain chemicals and different things, and you know, I'm not suggesting that the sludge isn't there, I'm suggesting that maybe the sludge isn't, it's a problem when we're filling it up and we can't get rid of it. But now we can at least discharge wastewater. And we could never do that before. So again, I would yield to waiting for the next engineer's report.
And when is that, roughly?
Well, I have requested that it be available for this meeting. I'm expecting it within the next week.
So we'll have it at the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and I say that because it's $250,000, and that's old news 4 years ago.
$250,000, not anymore.
I know, that's what I'm saying, that's old news, it was $250,000. So heaven forbid, so.
What, okay, so I phoned Councillor Carey today and asked him when it was built, and he said he figured end of 80s or early 90s, the lagoons. They've never been sledged out ever. They're supposed to be sledged every 10 to 15 years. We're talking, say it was 90.
Well, no, Sam, I've been through all this, I hear you. I'd like to wait on the, yeah, I agree with you. If the engineer comes back and says, you know what, 100% correct, you need to dredge up.
What if he comes back and says you don't need a dredger?
I'm gonna go with the
And
engineer.
we overflow it,
What's that?
and we overflow the lagoon.
Well,
If
then we sue
overflow
the
it-
engineer.
Yeah,
If you told me my car was functional, or my airplane was functional, and I went in the sky and I fell out of the sky, I'm gonna sue somebody, Stan.
Actually, if you're in the
Yeah.
sky, you'll probably be sooner.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody tells me it's okay to go forward with it, and it's not okay to go forward with it,
So all we hear in town, I hear lots from a lot of people. The lagoon's been a problem forever. I've talked to former CAOs, so I'm suggesting we spend the $6,000 and get it checked. If it doesn't need it, now we know. If it does need it, now we
you know,
know.
I don't wanna sound really mean about this, but they told George W. Bush that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and they had none. So I don't listen to what people tell me, I wait till I get a report in front of me, and I say, hey, that is legitimate, I can understand that.
Hey, that's
I don't listen to what other people tell me.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Sorry.
I can't support spending $6,000 of taxpayers' money if the engineer comes back and tells us we don't need to dredge. Why would we question a professional based on what we're hearing on the streets?
Because this engineer told this company it needed dredging that we had hired here.
But I think what
So
you're
now
missing.
as a professional.
Okay, what I think you're missing, Mayor Potten, is we weren't able to get rid of our wastewater to keep it at acceptable levels. At that point in time, dredging was our only option. Yes, the sludge is there, but now we are able to remove the wastewater and keep it at an acceptable level, which is why dredging is no longer a requirement, because the plant is now working and it is keeping the lagoon at an acceptable level, that overflowing is not something that we're needing to concern ourselves with.
We are not getting rid of the wastewater, we're putting it in storage tanks, those 2 cells. That's where it's going. It's not going out of the lagoon, We put it across the road in the storage cells. That's where they are. It's not going away. So what we did, yes, our lagoon's working because we're using 2 other cells for storage. That's fact. I mean, we can go down and watch it if we like.
Well, I will repeat my position, which is I'm not in favor of spending $6,000 of taxpayers' money if an engineer report tells us we don't need to dredge.
But the first engineer said we did. So we're
That
gonna
is based
agree to
on-
disagree.
No, this isn't a case of we agree to disagree. I understand what you're presenting, Mayor Plotton, and what you're presenting is what the situation was several years ago. What an engineer's report now will be addressing is what the situation is right now.
Okay, if we get the report, well, it won't be in a week, it'll be 2 weeks because we don't have a meeting till then.
Correct.
And he says it's gotta be dredged immediately. What do we do then? Get another engineer or do we dredge it?
Well, I think we're gonna survive though, Sanders. We're a community based on cottagers, et cetera, and I don't think we're gonna float away in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, no, that's what I said, is that.
Yeah, I'm suggesting if he says immediately, well, that's a different scenario, then we deal with
Okay.
that. But
So, anybody else got some questions?
Yeah, I think if the engineers say it has to be dredged, it has to be dredged. Certainly,
Absolutely, and if they say it doesn't, I don't agree with spending $6,000 to get a second opinion, which is what was being expressed at the table. Why would we not, if they say dredge, we'll dredge. If they say we don't need to, why would we go to somebody else for a second opinion and spend $6,000 when we've had a professional opinion already?
So what I would like from this engineer, for myself, who's took yours, ask them if they physically checked it. Or a lot of them, what they do is they go to Google Earth, take pictures of it, they take how big the lagoon is, and then they go, we're gonna call it 3.25 feet, all the way across. That's not accurate, you have to measure it for it to be accurate. And if he hasn't measured it, please get him to measure it.
yeah, that was my next
Because
question.
we're not
Did they
gonna,
actually
we're
come
not
out
gonna
here
know.
and do it?
And that will be a very good question to have once council has had an opportunity to review that report. I can't confirm one
No.
way or another.
Okay.
do we have a report on how much treated water that we've released thus far since can we get that as well in the next meeting? How many thousands of liters of treated water that we've discharged from the lagoons?
Yeah, I'm sure that will be within the report from the engineer, but if
Since
not,
since the plant has been functional.
and that can be
Right,
again.
and I want to correlate it that the plant is functional and that
And that can
what's
be-
happening is happening.
And that can be a question that arises following, the report, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we've also had that flow meter installed now. Have we got any information from that, number one? Number two, who's a professional here, the engineer? Well, how does the engineer calculate this? Do they go out, do they test, like the other person would come in and do testing? So I would rather get my information from the guy that's going out there doing the testing. How deep we are and how much has to be removed. We're building this community. This community's coming up with maybe another 50, 100 houses. Those lagoons need to be done.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
So I can answer question one. The flow meter data is being utilized by the engineer, and that's what the report will encapsulate, from my understanding, because that is our base data, right? Without those numbers and that information, we're unable to provide accurate estimates on future projections and current projections. And I'm sorry, question two, if you wouldn't mind repeating?
I'm just saying, who's a professional here? Is it the guy going out doing the measuring?
Gotcha.
Or is it the engineer? And how does the engineer calculate that? He doesn't know anything. He can take the basis of the area and everything, and maybe how many years, if he's got information, how much is going in there, et cetera.
So, to answer Councillor Kozlowski, and it's in the Public Works report. Utilities operation, continuous operation of the wastewater lagoons blower system is checked daily. Low pressure flow meter is monitored monthly. Lift station pump 2 has failed and needs to be resent for testing, which will happen with the annual clearing. Cleaning, water treatment, daily and monthly records are maintained bi-weekly and quarterly water analysis samples are being sent to Juracan. So it is being, the flow meter apparently is functioning properly.
And as for who determines the data for that, that will be a great question to ask our engineer if council wishes to speak with the engineer following receiving that report.
I would like him to do a presentation
Oh,
after he's
absolutely.
done. Please, I'd like him to come to council. And the only reason I say
Is he from
this,
out here, or is he from away?
Would council like me to arrange,
when his report is done, that he can present it to council.
yes.
Because we've had this on the agenda, this is like the third time. So
Okay.
let's put it to bed.
We'll all
Yeah.
agree to that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Everybody in agreement?
I'm in agreement.
Direct your resolution. Agenda item number 10.9, firefighter application. Whereas an application has been received and reviewed by the fire chief of the town of Winnipeg Beach Fire Department, and whereas the fire chief has submitted a recommendation to accept the applicant, there be it hereby resolved that council appoint, can I say his name? I don't know if I can say his name. Eliza Hamanicki,
Humanicki.
how do you say that?
Humanicki.
Humanicki, sorry, to the town of Winnipeg Beach Fire Department, and further be resolved a 6-month probationary period is applicable. Mover, please. Larry. Seconder? Larry. Discussion. Go ahead.
Are we down volunteers or people left or, and how many do we require? This is for volunteers.
So I don't have the exact numbers as to where the staffing is, or not staffing, but the volunteer levels are for the fire department. That being said, typically when there's a call, not all members are able to attend. So usually there is a buffer zone, and I'm confident that Fire Chief Dave would be working within that range, but I will confirm and get that information for council.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. I'm having a heck of a time getting this. To my dainty little fingers. Agenda item 10.10. Animal Control Officer Extension Update. Council to provide direction to administration on how to proceed, need to do a resolution.
So just a discussion at this point. But if council wishes to do a resolution, we can draft one.
And that's to extend both.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I don't want to make sense. We need to
That's good.
maintain both. We can't go without one for 3 months. It just makes sense that under what was presented by the animal control officer and bylaw officer, we extend the 2, and that'll give us the 3 months to decide how we want to proceed, how we want to advertise. Do we want to do it together? Do we want to do it separate?
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think we should advertise right away for a bylaw officer. Give him the extension. I know he doesn't want it unless he has both of them. Sort of feel like he's holding us hostage if we don't agree with one. And we have to do the other ones. So I'm in agreement that we put an ad out there for a bylaw officer. And a lot of times, and there's been a lot of people, I've had calls too, where we try to get a hold of him and we can't get a hold of him. And he doesn't get back to you. I tried last year, I brought that up to council last year a few times where I tried calling him, there's no callback.
Sorry.
I agree with Councillor Kozlowski, but the only problem with that is that if we're gonna change the contract and we put it out to tender, the contract's gotta be set before you put it out to tender. So if I said, yeah, you know what I mean, if we're gonna change some of the clauses in the contract, then that's gotta be done prior to, so we should be looking at this right away. And I agree that it should be on tender, we can't wait till, because if this gentleman doesn't want to renew his contract at the end of the extension, we should already have people, but I think that if we're gonna review these, then they need to be on the agendas. And this is the stuff that we gotta get done. Otherwise, we're gonna end up in the middle of the summer with no animal control officer. So I concur, but we should be putting what we wanna change in the contract on the agenda.
So we can do that tonight.
Yeah, we can put it, say, we can move it to the next or the, I think we need to look at the contract ASAP, and then we need to advertise. 3 months is a very short period of time.
Of course it is. I'm not in favor of keeping them an extra 3 months. I looked at it and thought, will it look any different in 3 months with them not here? Because I personally, I phoned five or six times for equipment parked across the road on Poplar, and I've never heard back. He's never finished one thing I've ever asked him to do, and I really don't like being held hostage over one thing to get another thing.
Well, his contract expires in this month, correct?
Correct.
So if we don't do the extension and we go immediately, then we gotta get this resolved as ASAP.
Yep.
So on the next, yeah, because it'll be, the contract will be null and void, and we won't have any bylaw officer, any animal control officer. We gotta get moving then, if that's what anybody wants, otherwise we end up with nobody.
Let's get moving. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just a question, based on what's required of us with the province as far as animal control, can we go without an animal control officer?
We do have an obligation under the current
Yeah.
animal control bylaw to provide pound keeper services.
So we can't go without the animal, therefore, based on the bylaw, we can't go without an animal control officer.
Currently, the contracted animal control officer position provides pound keeper services in addition to animal control officer services. So yes, upon the expiration of the current agreement, the town would not have a pound.
Which is April 30th?
Correct.
Okay. There is enough going on for administration. I don't think it's reasonable for us to expect administration to find us an animal control officer by the end of the month. And we don't have time to change a bylaw either. I just think it's in the best interest of administration's use of time that we approve the 3-month extension on both of them, and that at least gives administration some time and us as a council to decide how we want to rework these and how we want them to proceed with filling them. But it's not being fair to administration to expect them to find a pound service for us for the end of the month.
And just to clarify, the advertisements are ready to go for both positions, bylaw officer and animal control officer. And like that advertisement will be going out immediately because we will need a buffer zone, right, to negotiate and to formulate a contract before enacting it.
So could we be, if we did this, what I said, not what we said, can we go a month without one?
If that would be up to council to determine if they do not wish to provide that service.
Has he caught any cats or dogs here in the last month?
All the time.
Well, yeah. There was a report on the last agenda, I believe, for animal control officer. So that would,
Yeah, that's what we did. Did he catch any in Winnipeg Beach?
I would have to refer back to last
Okay.
month's report.
I don't worry about it.
By not providing pound service, though, we are going against our own bylaw, which states we provide pound service. So I'm not sure how we can expect our community members to follow our bylaws and then we're gonna sit here and not follow one ourselves by saying we're gonna go a month without animal control services. We're ignoring a bylaw that we have and we don't have the time to change that bylaw.
There, sorry.
Yeah, it's the same thing if he quits, he decides to quit at the end of this month. Again, we're stuck with nobody to do the job.
Right.
Well, it's the same
But
thing.
we knew that.
No, it's not the same thing. We're dumping it on administration. We're trying to avoid administration having to find pound services. They are busy. they are not in a position for us to be suddenly dumping something on them that has such a tight time turnaround, is the point I'm trying to make here.
I understand.
So we go a couple of weeks without?
Yeah, and so,
Then we're ignoring our bylaws.
Yeah,
so
we're
we are,
breaking the
it's
law.
at the end of the month.
We're breaking the law.
We're at the same spot. We're gonna put it back on Joe.
That's not this council table putting it on admin. That's the bylaw officer putting it on admin. And it is not the same thing, whoever just whispered that in the gallery. It is not the same thing at all.
I never heard that.
I did.
Well, but, fine. Well, I don't think we're getting any bang for our buck out of them,
Nobody does.
but, yeah.
Okay.
I've been on this thing for
And
2
we've-
years.
Yes, and we've had multiple discussions about it, and the contract is up, and now is the time for us to make the change. But to be ignoring the fact that we have a bylaw that states that we have to provide pound services, and by expecting admin to have to now suddenly fit this in so that it's looked after, I don't think we're acting responsibly towards our admin people. There is that fine line,
And we're short-staffed already.
and we're short-staffed already.
Is that how you feel? You can answer that honestly.
Well, realistically, if the advertisement goes out, we've already missed next week's deadline, so it'll hit the next week advertisement, which brings us to mid-May. You'd have to set a reasonable deadline for people to apply, which would be, what, 2-3 weeks approximately, to give an appropriate advertisement period, which puts us to the end of May. Then council would begin interviews to determine which candidate would be most suitable for those positions, which I would say brings you to the first week of June, while you'd be negotiating a contract, and the earliest meeting that it could hit would be probably the second meeting, which would be June 25th. Would be the soonest you could reasonably go through an entire hiring process, realistically.
And we haven't even reviewed the contract because we want to change the contract.
Correct.
We're not presenting the contract as it was. We're trying to change the contract itself.
Correct.
So we haven't even crossed that bridge yet.
Correct.
So our contract has got us with him we're over the barrel. with him.
No,
Because
no,
our
we
contract-
couldn't do anything before because it was a signed contract. We couldn't touch it. And we should have been looking at this 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. We should have been looking at this, but we waste time on things that we shouldn't have to waste time on. So it's just ridiculous that we go over the same thing over and over again,
This is the first time for me, sorry,
obviously.
pardon me.
I said obviously, you're a new mayor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like you weren't here when we discussed this previously.
Yeah, I was just saying I didn't know you discussed this previously.
No, it wasn't a
Sorry.
slam. It wasn't a slam. I'm saying
Sorry.
obviously
No,
you're
we're fine.
new.
We're good. I don't know who had the hands up first, so use
Can
the
we
sand.
not get somebody from one of the other areas, suburbs, to come in and fill in for a while?
Again, that would be a negotiation.
Yeah,
Um,
I pay them so much a month or whatever until
Right.
we actually have somebody.
So yeah, there would be a process for it associated with that, and
Like I say, and I agree with her, I don't think we're getting our bang for a buck. I don't think the other councillors feel the same. We've had problems with him in the past. Again, we've had problems with him not answering phone calls. And that's not just from us, these are from our people out there as well.
We're all in agreement that the contract needs to change. That is something that can happen during this 3-month process, allowing administration to get the ad out. The ad itself is not the contract. The things that we want to see changed based on our experiences as council are things we can discuss and change that would need to be conveyed to administration come the time that somebody is selected and then they're negotiating the contract with. But again, finding somebody from another area is adding something to administration to do.
So if we get this done by the end of June, you're saying this is gonna take?
yeah, if,
That's 2 full months.
correct.
And
Why don't we put a special meeting together ASAP and we'll just talk about specifically the contract. We can do that in the next 7 to 10 days and the
Absolutely.
contract's done, and then you can put out an advertisement. We can't do anything until because our ambition was to rewrite the contract. there's clauses and sub-clauses in there that we don't like, and there's things that we would like in the contract that aren't in the contract. So we're talking about the same potato bag, and we don't like the potato bag, so let's change the potato bag.
Absolutely, I'm in favor of that.
My understanding from what Jody has said is that piece of it does not stop her from being able to get the ad out next week.
Correct.
That stuff is not included in
Let's
the
move-
ad.
let's move on to
That
special
process can start. So
Yeah.
that process is independent of what we decide we want in the contract.
Right.
Which is then what would be discussed in negotiations.
Right, and if somebody phones early, say, well, we're just finalizing the contract now, that will be available for you to look at whatever day.
The contract would not be available until council decides who they want to sit down and interview and negotiate with,
Right.
right? You don't.
So they would just submit to the advertisement, that I'm
They would
interested
just
in looking at,
advertise.
correct. But we could say, in the next 7 to 10 days, come up with a special meeting, hammer out the contract in a couple of hours, Bob's your uncle, and we're good to go.
Well, and realistically, with the advertising process, like it takes approximately 2 months. You have that 2 months, right, to come up with the scope of the contract and what you want it to encapsulate. So it doesn't have to happen urgently, but as long as it's within that 2-month period.
And can we put in the resolution that if we come up with all of this in advance, that we could terminate the 3 months extension anytime we want? Upon completion, and then we go to tender. So example being, if we give the 3-month extension and I say, okay, on May the 10th, we're gonna have, this is gonna be done, in which case the extension is terminated and you are now available to bid on the contract. Can we do that?
You can. That being said, the provisions allow for a 3-month contract extension. If you put in a clause to terminate at any time, the bylaw animal control officer may not wish to go forward with that 3-month contract, right?
But put in that he's
So-
able to bid on it too.
Yeah, well, and you can just have that, the new contract begin, like, at the end of the 3-month extension, or you could start it sooner, like you could phase out, like that would be up to council.
If we do that and he's there and we end it, are we suable?
That would be a question for legal.
If the clause is in there.
Again, I would suggest consulting legal.
Then can you do that?
So is the cost of consulting legal gonna cost us more than just allowing him to work out the 3 months or paying him out the 3 months? If he's replaced sooner? Like, those are things we need to weigh.
There would be costs associated with that.
Yeah, I agree with Doug. Let's get this thing hammered out, even if it's not, it's behind us. Because there's always something coming in front of us. Does that sound right, reasonable?
So we gotta hammer it.
Okay,
So
so just to clarify, could you please summarize that for me, Mayor Cotton, as to what you would like the wording of the resolution?
Oh, you're picking the right guy for that. What I just said.
yeah.
Well, Doug's advice, I'm not gonna say Doug's advice. We hold a special meeting to get together, special meeting of council to, I suppose in muscles use, hammer out the details of this contract, to change this contract.
Reword.
Okay, so that part we can handle
Okay.
like in itself. But as for the existing contract, is the resolution going to read that council agrees to a 3-month contract extension? Or how
If we can
how
get
is
out of
that?
it.
Okay.
I would say if we get out of it, because if we're kind of stuck. And if he doesn't like it, he quits, well, it is what it is. How's that for legalese?
Okay. Alright. So I've got got it worded as, be it resolved that council agreed to a 3-month contract extension to the animal control officer and bylaw officer, and be it further resolved that a provision be added to allow termination at any point during the 3-month extension.
Sounds right to me.
I can support that.
Word for word how I said it.
Exactly. Verbatim. And can we come up with a date right now too for this contract thing?
Every day works for me, you just figure that one out.
Next week, I only have Thursday available.
So I would like to note that with budget being imminently due,
Yeah,
I would recommend that we put it off to the next meeting, because council will be coming already at that point, and it will allow additional time for administration to prepare for that.
yeah. I'm good.
So,
How's everybody else?
so,
Gee, you good with that?
okay. So the next meeting's the May 14th you're talking about?
Correct.
And you want to have a special meeting in the morning? Or what are we looking for, early for the council meeting, or you want to do 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yeah, if you'd like to do a special meeting, or if you would like to lump it into your regular meeting, that is.
Well,
I
it's
don't
the
like,
same.
you know what, it could take an hour and a half doing this. This is pretty, the animal control bylaw is huge.
So why don't we lump it with a budget meeting or something, so we can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
what, put it
okay,
in there.
That sounds
And if
good.
we have to have multiple meetings, then we'll do it, because I
Yeah.
want to get this thing up.
Definitely.
attaboy.
Do we have a date on that?
I don't at this point, but I will send an email out to all of council.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So with the wording of that resolution, we'll need a mover and a seconder.
A mover, please. Doug, seconder, Larry? All in favor? Sharon? Did you vote yes, Jim?
I did not vote.
Oh,
I did
I
not
see.
vote in favor.
Okay,
Opposed.
So say opposed.
One opposed. Is this one pertinent, now that we're carrying everything through district council?
Yes, it is, so.
So I already got that noted. The resolution hadn't been printed, so this is the one that we want to, yeah,
So this is a totally different one, I didn't even read the top part.
yeah.
Okay. Different one. My problem. Agenda item number 10.11, damage complaint. Be resolved, the council approve, not approve the damage complaint request dated March 28th, 2025, located at 225 7th Avenue. Mover, please. Doug. Seconder? Larry? Discussion. Yep. Yeah.
Myself and Councillor Gould attended that day, we went to have a look at it, and obviously something heavy hit that, it wasn't a car or anything. 4x4 post was broken off, the chain link fence and it's all been pulled up and everything. And I think myself that it was probably one of our graders. It's not a snow push into there.
No.
It's something heavy that's pulled that towards to make that damage.
Anybody else? Comment?
Well, actually, the chain link is stretched, like it's, something grabbed it and stretched it.
Yeah. And then backed out. And
It's
lowered
up
up.
or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it basically stretched 2 full panels.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Favor of.
Oh.
Repair.
Oh.
Suggesting to repair it
Oh,
or?
sorry, yeah. Approve the damage request. Well, repairs, actually, definitely the cheapest. It's one post and a 20-foot piece of wire.
Yeah, we can cut
This
off.
will be done by us too, right? Public work, yeah, so it's in-house.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the
They did
one.
it.
I stand behind
So just
Councillor and
scratch out
Barry and
not
Larry.
approved.
Barry and Larry. So cute.
Your brother Daryl.
Yeah, so cute.
But it is approved.
Yeah, there's just that one approved.
Oh, up here. Okay, I get you.
Yep.
So now I can go. All in favor?
Supporting it.
2, 3, 4, 5. Carried. So is this still in full, since that we're keeping it straight? Okay.
Yeah, this report is separate.
Item 10.12, obligation regarding the management of stray cats. Be resolved, the council accept the management of stray cats report as presented by the Chief Administrative Officer. Mover. Second by Barry. Oops. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Item 10.13, use of municipal logo request breakwater. Discussion, council to provide direction to administration by resolution. A mover, please.
Just wait.
You don't need-
It's just discussion.
Oh, it's just discussion, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I hear what the new owners are saying, you know, and my heart goes out on this, but the corporate guy's coming out at me that you can't have people running around and be falsely posing as town employees, because we can't control the conduct of people out there that have Winnipeg Beach logos on their hat, their sweaters, their hoodies, whatever. We can't control what they say, and I'd like to be able to do it, but it's just one of those things. So I don't think we're in a position for liability to be able to do this.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I certainly can appreciate Councillor Jarvis's concern about the clothing, and it's certainly not something I had thought about. What if we limited it to non-clothing items, and and these are just kind of a couple of thoughts I had on ways that we might be able to do this. We source out suppliers. They can only do it from the suppliers that have been recommended by us. We limit what items they can put the town logo on. And that it's available to all businesses. That we would share that information with any business in the community as to what supplier they could use. You know, so things like coffee cups, pens, you know.
I don't have a problem with that, if you could.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing is, we've had in the past, and even in Winnipeg, situations where people posing as town employees, Manitoba Hydro, meter readers,
Yeah,
and they're not. They get their hands, we had a situation in Nova Scotia where a guy pretended he was an RCMP officer. You know what I mean? It's just, and those are extreme issues.
He had an
but-
RCMP uniform.
Well, we're giving them a Town of Winnipeg Beach logo, and they're putting it on the back of their shirt.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he says, "Hey, I'm from the town of Winnipeg Beach, I wanna come in and check your water meter." You know what I mean? Like, I have a problem with that, but I can see call it the
Just kind of
swag.
try- yeah, we're just trying to meet them halfway, that
Yeah.
if this is what they want to do, we would make it available.
Yeah,
to all
yeah, and that's why I said,
businesses.
my heart goes out to it. I'd like nothing better to say, yeah, go have at it.
Yeah.
But
Open it to
there's
all.
always some crazy person out there that puts a t-shirt on and says, yeah, I'm with Public Works Town of Winnipeg Beach, and I'm checking out your whatever. And they're not a town employee at all. So,
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think if we do go ahead with this, I think everything has to be pre-approved
yeah,
through
what
the office.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I concur.
And that was sort of maybe to cut down on all of that, that's why I'm suggesting They only get to use approved suppliers that we've approved, and they only get to order specific items that we've approved. And then it's not having to be every time there's a request, we have to approve it. We're telling you this is what you can do and nothing more.
Yeah, aren't there any other companies right now doing that, using the water tower and town of Winnipeg Beach up there with with sweatshirts and, shirts.
But this is the logo they
sweatpants.
want to use right there.
It's clothing items, right?
Mhm.
They can take that design right off and go do it themselves, somebody to do.
Anybody can do that,
Yeah.
but
They're doing the right thing by asking,
Yeah.
absolutely. They did tell me that their big thing was for hoodies and sweatshirts
Mhm.
and t-shirts.
Mhm.
Never mentioned cups or pens, but maybe they would, He was trying to promote our town. It's not helping.
granted, that's why that's why I feel badly about it, but I just think that, heaven forbid that anything happened and somebody came and poses, and it happens all the time. People come in and say, I'm with the Board of Health, or I'm with this, and they show you a business card, that means nothing. You know what I mean? He could have got that from a fishbowl at a restaurant somewhere. I think you're opening up a can of worms if we start saying, yeah, have at it. I don't mind if it's the water tower, it's not an approved logo for the town. Maybe it's a pier, maybe it's the boardwalk, maybe it's the bandstand. But when they're asking to use the logo, that's a whole different thing. And there's gotta be liability issues involved.
So recommendation number 2 does suggest that council direct administration to draft a policy to guide the use of the town logo. And that policy would be our avenue to put restrictions and regulations on approval, merchandise, etc. So at this time, council could do a resolution to draft that policy if they so choose.
Let's get it off our plate.
How about add, or you can use the water tower, no problem.
So that wouldn't be our municipal logo, there would be no restrictions, because that's not our design.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's tons of icons, even the caboose, you know what I mean? The bandstand, there's tons of icons that are available.
Yeah, this is specifically just to regulate.
Right, and as Councillor Gendron suggested, if they want coffee cups, do you know what I mean? If they want whatever, pens.
Now, the other thing, when I said a supplier, we should also be concerned with the quality of the merchandise that's having our logo on it. And that's why I'm thinking if we recommend 2 or 3 suppliers that meet the quality standard that we're expecting of these products.
Yeah. I think it's souvenir stuff, like when you go into the, whatever the dollar store is in Gimli, they have little shot glasses with Gimli on them. You know what I mean? It's not using a town logo, but when you have at it, if you want to use Winnipeg Beach, you want to use the water tower, go at it. But there's a lot of places that sell knickknacks and they say, I was in Port Franks or whatever. So,
And council can get into
Yeah,
all
but-
of those details when that policy is
yeah, I don't,
presented.
to finish, Gene, the quality, we can control the quality.
We
Yeah.
can if we suggest a supplier, limit the suppliers they can use to be using our logo on.
Have we ever had legal advice on that? Does anybody ever?
I don't,
No, we have not received legal advice. However, council can direct administration to seek legal advice on this matter.
and I know what the gentleman's doing, because if you've never been in I think it's called Manitoba Made, there's a craft store in the Lakeview. Have you ever been in there? Go
I've
in
been in
there.
there, but I never noticed it.
Go in there, those things are, it's right in the shop part there, and they're all crafts that are made in Manitoba. And one of the people that is gonna be associated has product in that store. It's in Gimli in the Lakeview Resort, and it's an incredible, some of the craft work in there is just phenomenal.
He's also gonna put local artisans.
Well, that's exactly what this is. It's just a replica of what's already, and when you're in Gimli, get a coffee, go and wander through there. It's an incredible store. And they do well.
Good.
And that is if you're looking to attract people, that attracts people.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
I've drafted a resolution for council. Be it resolved that council direct administration to draft a policy to guide the use of the town logo, and be it further resolved that council direct administration to seek legal advice on the policy. That verbiage is sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
I don't have the paper to sign, but I've got it on the computer if you wouldn't mind
Signing the computer.
asking for a mover.
Mover? Larry? Seconder? Doug? No more discussion, I assume that's it? All in favor? 4 for, 1 against.
Carried.
Oh, sorry, I never said carried. Okay, 4. You got who moved in second?
Yeah.
Oh, should I go rolling here? 4, 1 against, standing.
Okay.
I just gotta know that the gallery's making quite a bit of noise. I never heard. But anyway, if somebody heard, so please don't. Item number 10.14, request for financial plan deadline extension. Whereas Section 161 of the Municipal Act requires municipalities to prepare and adopt a financial plan for each fiscal year by May 15th, and whereas the town of Winnipeg Beach is finalizing its 2025 financial plan but has encountered unforeseen circumstances due to recent staffing transition and resource constraints, which have impacted the timeline for the completion of the financial plan, and whereas the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach deems it necessary and in public interest to request an extension to ensure proper completion, review, and public consultation regarding the financial plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby respectfully requests the Honorable Glenn Samard, Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations, to approve an extension to the submission of the 2025 financial plan, that a certified copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Municipal and Northern Affairs for consideration. Mover. Barry. Seconder. Jean. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 12.7, committee reports approval. Be it resolved that council accept the committee reports as presented. Mover, please. Barry. Seconder. Jane. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Half of it to our part. Agenda item 13.2, council, committee, and board reports approval. Be it hereby resolved that council approves the council, committee, and board reports as presented. Mover, please. Barry, seconder. Larry. Discussion.
Round table.
Oh, sorry, roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
Roundtable is the discussion on this resolution, or roundtable is separate from this?
Round table can be the discussion, because
Okay.
there
Okay,
wasn't.
because I was saying, this doesn't say round table on it. Yep, sorry. Peter.
Okay, as chair of personnel, I would like to congratulate Angie Shindak, our finance coordinator? Clerk, our finance clerk. She has completed her CMMA designation. It is normally a 5-year part-time program, and Angie has successfully completed it in 2. So I would just like to congratulate her.
Absolutely. Well done. Anybody else find it? I would like to give a shout out here to Lyle and Sherry and their pup Darby, whom I met in the park across from Main Street a few evenings ago. They were picking up garbage in the park on an extremely cool evening. They said they do this every year. I would just like to show our appreciation for them, for this great community effort, to all the other people that are also doing the same thing. There's another family out there today cleaning the lake shore who didn't want their name used. So thank you all, it is very much appreciated. That's fine. So this doesn't have to be signed off now, by round table?
Yeah, we still need to pass the resolution.
Oh, okay. All in favor? Carried. 14.1, accept correspondence. Be it hereby resolved that the correspondence be accepted as circulated. Moved by Doug. Second, Barry. Discussion? Yep.
On the Rob Boulanger, the Red River cleanup, have we decided we're gonna contribute anything to this?
So I've added it as correspondence just to acknowledge his presentation. This letter has also been included in budget discussions for council.
Okay, so we should wait for that, that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I'll let Larry have his hand up too, and I'll.
Oh, sorry, Doug.
Yeah, Green Team, are we hiring more people this year? Are we going with 1, 2, how many we got on the schedule?
So typically, I believe we apply for 8 green team positions. That being said, we never get funding for the full amount, typically. We haven't received confirmation yet on what the numbers for approval are. However, that being said, we have put an ad out to the public just to start gathering interest on that. And
Yeah,
then
and didn't they cut the funding a bit last year on the green team?
last year, it
Right,
was
so is it
cut.
the same as this last year, or have they,
This year, the province of Manitoba has
I thought it said they increased it.
increase the funding, yeah, 20.6% for this year. So hopefully we will have
Get more
additional
than one
funding
person.
for additional staffing.
Good. Was it your hand, Jean?
No.
Oh, sorry. That's it for discussion? All in favor?
Yeah.
Carried. Agenda item number 15, in camera. Be it further resolved, the council moves in camera at 8:20. To discuss personal and legal matters and be further resolved that any matters discussed while in camera be held confidential until such time as discussed in open council. Mover? Doug? Seconder? Larry? All in favor? Thanks for coming out.
At 6:45. So the thing starts, I think, 8 starts, so that goes to nachos.
Congratulations, young lady.
Yes.
Well, you do, video. Alan wrote, first of all.
Now you can ask for a raise.
So that's like 6.
There we go, and we've got audio.
How's my hair?
You better go.
Right after she said we have audio, you go, how's my
We're
hair?
good to go.
Yes.
Agenda item 15.3, out of camera. Be it hereby resolved, the council moves out of camera at
9:50.
9:50 a.m. Moved by Doug. Seconded, Larry. All in favor? Carried. Is there another one?
Yeah, the agenda meeting.
To adjourn.
Oh, sorry. Agenda item 16, adjournment. Be it hereby resolved, the council adjourns the April 23rd, 2025 regular meeting at,
9:50 also.
okay, that was pretty quick then. Moved. Barry, second. Jane,
All here.
all in favor? Carried.
Okay.
And I need to talk to you real quick about that historical society thing.
Yeah, let me just turn off the camera first.